What's up, everybody? I'm Luke, and this is a Subaru-only show. Not the Subaru-only channel, the Subaru-only show. And that's an important distinction. I'm going to walk you through what that distinction means in a second on the whiteboard behind me. But before I get into that, I want to say thank you, everybody, for checking out this channel. Thank you for all the support I've gotten. It's been about a year since I've done any videos. I've been on a lot of different journeys, all of them Subaru-related, and I'll get into that at one point or another, and I have no problem sharing that with all of you guys. But for now, I'm going to jump into what the new format is for the show and why I'm calling it the Subaru-only show. On the whiteboard behind me, I got the 4 different segments. For the Subaru-only show, it's going to consist of 4 segments. I wanted to put together something that was a little bit more packaged, a little bit more of a routine format that I could build to each week or each 2 weeks, and have something that's a little bit more refined with these 4 different pieces that I could put together and put out there as a show. In between the Subaru-only shows, I'm going to put a lot of different vlog videos up, talking about how we're putting together the show and the different pieces of the show, leading up to filming of the show. But for now, I'm going to have kind of bookmark ends of video content being these Subaru-only shows, and in between those bookmark ends is going to be a bunch of different little short videos that are going to be vlogs. So the Subaru-only show, what's it all about? The first thing is going to be the unboxing. I'm constantly buying a lot of Subaru parts from all the different manufacturers out there, and I figured at some point I got to roll this into my videos because they're awesome parts, and there's always a reason why I purchase a part. Usually it's replacing the Subaru OEM part, or even replacing an aftermarket part because it's a different design. And it'd be really cool to do a series of unboxing videos. So it's going to be the first segment of the Subaru-only show where I actually open up the box. You guys get to see the condition of the part as it comes from the manufacturer or the distributor, and then I walk through why I chose that part and how it should provide some kind of advantage, you know, either in performance or in reliability for my different Subarus. Let's kind of jump over here. Here's a couple of the different parts that we might show up for the unboxing. We got a parent part here. I've got a Turbo Smart part here, and I've got a pretty cool Grimspeed part here. And in the first episode, I'm not going to tell you guys which one yet, but in the first episode, we're going to go ahead and unbox one of these parts, and we're going to talk about why we purchased this part and what car it's going to go on. That kind of transitions into the build update. The build update is where all these parts that I'm going to be unboxing are going to get installed. And the build update is going to be on one of the 4 or 5 different Subarus that I constantly own. So I'm a big Subaru enthusiast. I've been dedicated Subaru enthusiast for over 10 years. I've been involved in motorsports for over 20 years. I actually graduated from UTI about 20 years ago. Let's see, 2001. So over 15 years ago I graduated from UTI. I actually had a shop after graduating from UTI called Never Enough Racing in Southern California with a buddy of mine named Jeff. Jeff, what's up, bro? I think he's still down there. He does a lot of off-road fabrication. I've been involved in a lot of different motorsport stuff. I've been involved in the Score off-road series where I race, different cars in the Baja. I've been involved in circle track racing. I've been involved in drag racing. I've been involved in sand drag racing. I've been involved in rallycross racing. And basically, for the last decade, I've been solely building, driving, racing Subarus, either for my daily drivers or for the cars that I use in motorsport events. And I'm still involved in a lot of different motorsport events, and I'll talk to you guys about that as we continue on in these videos. But for now, the build update will be on one of the 4 cars I have. And the first car I have is right here, actually. Let's check it out right now. So basically, this is a 1998 2-door coupe. It has a full 2005 WRX drivetrain installed in it. So it's got an 05 WRX 2-liter turbo motor, the 5-speed transmission, and the rear differential. And of course, this is, like I said, a 2-door. It's actually been fairly stripped. It actually has a roll cage that I have taken out right now. I'm going to have powder coated. It's actually got Bride bucket race seats in it. And a lot of other cool stuff on this car. As you see, it's got the BBS wheels. Those are pretty cool. The 5x100 BBS wheels, 17 inches. It's a little bit lower than the front. It's in rough condition. It's got a little bit of oxidation up here. It's got a little bit of damage to the paint on the side mirrors. It's got a little bit of damage to the paint on the vents here. It's got a lot of little nicks and scratches in it. But for the most part, this car is an awesome car. As any Subaru enthusiast knows, there's nothing better than a first-generation GC 2-door coupe Impreza in World Rally Blue. And this is, not only is this the same color that the 22B was made in, of course the 22B has wider fenders and a bunch of other different things, but the 22B was only made in 1998, and it was only available in World Rally Blue. This is a 1998 in World Rally Blue. So it's not that far off from a 22B, something that is basically unattainable as a unicorn car that's totally out of our price range. Pretty cool car. This is going to be one of my primary cars I'm going to use in rallycrossing. This is because it's an all-wheel drive and it's a great car for rallycross. It's got a short wheelbase and it's fairly light. These are about 2,700 pounds, give or take a couple hundred pounds. Give or take 100 pounds, depending on the condition of the car and different things you've stripped out of it. So this is the first car, the 1998 two-door coupe. For the build update, there's a couple other cars. I also have a 1993 Legacy 4-door, 5-speed front-wheel drive that I've also raced in rallycross, and that one's really unique in that it's a front-wheel drive vehicle. It's lightweight, being front-wheel drive, because it doesn't have the differential in the back and the axles going to the back and the extra weight associated with that. And like I said, it's a 5-speed with a 2.2 liter, and that car can compete obviously in front-wheel drive classes. So for SCCA racing, autocross racing, and rallycross racing, that 93 Legacy front-wheel drive is great because there's not a whole lot of Subarus you can race in front-wheel drive classes. And I obviously have plenty of other all-wheel drive Subarus I like to race. So that's the second car. The third car is a 94 IMPREZA 5-speed all-wheel drive. That one I've shown in previous videos. It's white. Actually, the Legacy is also white. And that 94 IMPREZA 5-speed all-wheel drive is a car that's going to be a perfect candidate for a JDM STI motor swap, turbo motor swap. And as you guys have seen in maybe some of my older videos, I've got an EJ20G motor. It's a 1996 JDM STI motor. It's a 2-liter turbo, but with a pretty large turbo that makes about 285 horsepower at the flywheel from the factory. That motor I built it up. I actually put, let's see, I put ARP head studs in it. I put obviously new head gaskets in it, and I had the heads machined. I put new bearings in it. I put new rings in it, and a couple of little pieces on it to make that engine more reliable. So that engine's going to go in the 94 IMPREZA. That's the third car. The fourth car is my 2004 Forester XT. The Forester XT, that's a turbo model Forester, and the 04 year is the year that the short block was basically the exact same short block as the STI. So that 04 Forester is a pretty badass car, and I'm right in the middle of a build on that car where I actually bought that car. It had a bad head gasket. I pulled the head gasket out, I replaced the head gasket, and drove it around for a couple months to kind of baseline it, put it through its paces. I took it to a rallycross event and took 4th place in the Santa Rosa Rallycross. And to be honest with you, I was the only one there on street radials. Everybody else had snow tires. And the person who took first, actually the first and second place winners of the stock all-wheel drive class that I raced in were the weekend instructor and his co-driver. So I did pretty damn good taking 4th place with those people, and it was out of about 20-25 people that raced in stock all-wheel drive class. So Forester did great, but I pulled the intake off, I pulled the downpipe off, I pulled the up pipe off, I pulled the turbo off, and I'm doing a bunch of stuff on that Forester. It's gonna be really, really, really fun build to check out every week. So that's where the build updates are on those 4 cars. The next thing is going to be the tech how-to section. So I'm going to do a little segment with a traditional tech how-to, which is what my older videos used to be. And here's an example of that kind of thing right here. If I could jump you over here. These are tumble generator valves, often commonly referred to as TGVs. And these go right underneath the intake manifold. So you'll have your intake manifold on your engine, and your intake manifold will split that runner into 4 different channels. And before it can go into your heads, those 4 different air channels will have to go through these TGVs, or tumble generator valves. And what these really are just for emissions in the United States. And what's a common modification to do them, and this isn't technically legal if you're going to drive a car on the streets or on the roads and per DOT regulations, but what you can do is, if you see these little blades in here, these little brass blades, you basically, or maybe they're just coated, but they basically block the air and they create just turbulence in your engine when it's cold. And when your engine's completely up to operating temperature, these flaps will rotate so they're perfectly vertical, and they allow the engine to breathe a little freer. But removing these little valves, these little butterfly valves, will actually free up your engine to have a little bit freer flow, and that's what I've done here. I've removed the butterfly valve, both of them, from this side, as you can see. And this will allow the air to flow through it a little bit easier. It doesn't really affect anything as far as the performance of your car. All it does is provide a benefit to the performance, and it should give you, what I've heard is 20 or 30 horsepower, but we'll see. That's not that I've actually reproved, but you know, there's plenty of videos of other really reputable performance shops out there that have talked about either removing these butterfly valves, or you can go the JDM route or an aftermarket route and get tumble generator, basically tumble generator risers that don't have the bar or the butterfly in them at all. They're completely open ports, and those are basically called Tgv Deletes. So they make those for all Japanese vehicles, so if you see them on eBay and you look for Tgv Deletes, a lot of times they'll be the Subaru OEM part that just didn't have this rod or this little split in here and allows for a free flow. But you have to have them for sale in the United States. So that's kind of the tech update. That's what I'll do each week. And then the last one, and this last one's really cool. This is one I'm most excited about. I'm going to incorporate interviewing one of my friends or one of the shops I've worked with in the area, or anybody I've met out there on the internet or on Facebook or on YouTube. I want to get involved in meeting more people in the Subaru community. And to do so, I'm going to incorporate an interview with these people or their shops or their manufacturing facility and what they do for Subarus in the Subaru community. I'm going to incorporate that into the SubaruONLY show. So the last segment is going to be a fourth segment. You know, and in that segment, like I said, I'm going to basically sit down with an owner or sit down with a shop owner or a manufacturer. I'm going to drive out to their facility. I'm going to go out to their shop, or I'm going to have Subaru owners come to my house, and we're going to pop the hood of their car. And we're going to talk about what they've done to their Subaru. We're going to talk about what kind of motorsport events they're in. We're going to talk about the different classes that they've gone through in the different motorsports that they're involved in. And we're going to talk about what their plans are in the future, and just do a deep dive into why they bought their Subaru and what they're doing with it. So that's going to be the interview with a Subaru shop or owner segment of the show. Really excited for that. I'm really excited for that. It's going to be awesome. And that pretty much wraps it up. So that's what the new format is for the show. This is a SubaruONLY show, and I'm looking forward to making a bunch of shows with you guys. Thanks a lot for checking out the video. Later.